The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, it's Barry Moltz, still getting small businesses unstuck. I'm very excited about this webinar we're going to have today on 5 steps to get your business ranking on the first page of Google. Now, I've said so many times, if you can't get found, you'll never get chosen. If a customer can't find you when they're looking for the product or service, then you're never going to get chosen. And that means that we all got to be on page 1 of Google. You know that old joke that says, where do you hide a dead body? Well, of course, the answer is on page 2 of Google. But this is not something that you can really do by yourself if you want to do search engine optimization. That is something that you really need to the professionals, and that's why I've partnered up with Phil Frost, who's the founder and COO of Main Street ROI, that's going to do a webinar today on 5 steps to get your business ranking on the first page of Google. Phil, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Barry. All right, so as Barry mentioned, we're going to walk through the 5 steps to get your business ranking on the first page of Google. I do have some housekeeping we'll get out of the way. If you have questions, you can post those in the questions box. It should be on the upper right-hand corner of your screen, and I'll get those as they come in. I always recommend you turn off distractions. Just get the most out of this presentation if you're not also checking your email and your Facebook news feed. And I have a quick poll just to see who's on the line. So just a couple quick questions here. The first one, are you currently working with an SEO agency or consultant? Answers of yes, no, or we are an agency, I am a consultant. Whenever we do presentations like this, I always find we have a few agencies and consultants on the line. All right,
I guess they're trying to learn too, Phil, right?
That's right. Okay, it looks like the majority here, close to 90%, are now it's at 80% not working with an agency, 20% yes. So I'm going to close that out now. Most people have voted. Next question here, just to get a sense for the size of your SEO campaigns, because I saw that some people are doing SEO. If you're not, then what would be your anticipated campaign budget? Got about 25% in the 1,000, 2,000 range, 38%, 500 to 1,000, and 44%. It's kind of moving around here, less than 500. Again, most people have voted. Let me close that out. Last question, and we will move on to get a sense for other digital marketing channels that you're using. And if I set this up correctly, you'll be able to check multiple options here. And I apologize if I screwed it up. I have done it where you can only check one. Hopefully this works. We've got Google AdWords and/or Bing advertising, Facebook advertising, email marketing, social media, and then other. And if you do select other, if you can just type your answer into the Q&A box. Looks like 100% using email marketing, which is fantastic. That's a highly recommended channel, but usually when I do these presentations, that is on the low end. All right, so I'm going to close out of that. Most people have voted. And it looks like 44% advertising and AdWords, Bing, 78% Facebook advertising, did drop down 89%. Email marketing, 56% social media, and then 22% other. I didn't get anything in the questions box there. All right, here's what we're going to cover today. I want to walk through some important Google updates that you need to understand if you want to be successful with SEO. I'll also walk through 3 what I call old school SEO tactics you want to avoid. These are tactics that used to work well, but now they'll actually get you into trouble. Then I'll go through 2 tactics that you can use to get ranked in as little as 30 days. There are a couple tactics with SEO that do work quickly. And I'll walk through the 5 rules or the 5 steps. And I do have a special offer at the end to help you get started today. Now, if you're wondering who am I, why should you listen to me? Again, my name is Phil Frost, the founder of Main Street ROI. And our business provides digital marketing services like search engine optimization, online advertising, and email marketing. To date, we've helped over 2,000 businesses with their digital marketing, and my thought leadership has been featured in Forbes, Inc., Amex, as well as Mashable. This is my favorite slide here. I'm also the proud father of these cute kids. We've got Violet on the left. She's 4.5. She's very proud to be 4.5.
Oh.
And
oh, you must be tired, Phil. You must be tired.
Yeah, I got that chubby son I'm holding. He's a handful. That's Emmett.
Yeah, they all are.
He's just over 2 years old. This picture was taken actually on his 2-year-old birthday, early April. And my beautiful wife Erin in the middle. And that was that's at the beer garden in the Upper West Side of Manhattan.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All right, so to understand SEO, I think it's really important for everyone to have a quick history lesson. Promise I'll keep this brief, but this will help you better understand SEO so it all makes sense. So way back in the day, there was a search engine called Alta Vista, and this was before Google. And back then, to get ranked in Alta Vista, it was actually pretty easy. All you had to do was put the word that you wanted to rank for on your page and have that show up more often on your page than any of the other pages online. And that was how SEO worked. The search engine would just see the words on your page, see that it's relevant, and show you high in the search results. Now, because it was so easy, it also meant that the search results were full of spam. And I remember doing searches and just totally irrelevant stuff would be floating up to the top on the first page, including porn sites, and that was a big problem for Alta Vista. So then Google entered the market. This was around 1998, and they had a algorithm that didn't just look at the words on your pages, they also looked at how many other websites were linking to your website. And when I say link, that's just, when you're online, it says click here, you click on that and it shoots you over to the other website. That would be a link to that other website. So Google's looking at not only the words on your page to see if you should rank for a certain keyword, they're also looking at how many other websites are linking to your website. It's sort of like a popularity contest. If you have more websites linking to you or voting for you, then you will rise to the top of the search engines. And because of that little twist in the algorithm, their search results were much better than Alta Vista and all the other search engines, and they became the #1 search engine, and they really haven't looked back since. The last key takeaway here is that Google depends on search ad revenue. So their business model and the vast majority of their revenue comes in from people clicking on ads in the search results. And that's from what's called Google AdWords. Those are advertisers who pay to be ranked on the first page. Now, because of all of that money that Google's making on those ads, anytime that someone tries to manipulate the search results and get their business to rank high, that's a real threat for their business. Because if someone does a search and they find irrelevant websites showing up and they don't really find what they're looking for, then they're going to stop using Google. They're going to go to, let's say, Bing or some other search engine and start using that search engine rather than Google, and Google will lose their revenue. So that's a key point, because that's why Google spends so much money hiring some of the smartest people to work at their company and fight spam. So with that in mind, they have released a lot of big updates to their algorithm to keep spam out of the search results. And this is important because once you understand what Google's mission is, which is to keep users coming back so that they keep making more money on the search ads, and you understand why they're making these algorithm updates that will help you to better position your website to rank higher. So the first update here that I want to mention is the Panda update. Google released this, and they were trying to get rid of any websites that gave a bad user experience. And the big offenders were websites that had low quality content. So if you create a website and you take shortcuts, and let's say you don't want to write the content, so you outsource that, and you just create some really low quality content, then Google is not going to rank you high. That should be fairly obvious. They don't want to rank websites that give a bad user experience, because again, and anytime they do that, that's going to threaten their business model. Next update here was the Penguin update, and this was related to the fact that their algorithm is based on looking at how many other websites are linking to your website. Now, you can take that to the extreme, and a lot of businesses did this. They went out and basically built websites for the sole purpose of linking to their main site. So they did that to try to inflate the number of links that they had. And for a while, that did work well, and that was actually a legitimate SEO strategy. But over time, Google figured out those weren't real links, and Google released what they called the Penguin update, which meant all of the sites that were getting links that weren't really legitimate links, those sites were basically removed from the first page of the results. So that's what I mean by over-optimized websites. Mostly that was related to websites getting a lot of links that were not natural links. We'll talk more about that later. Google Plus is Google's social networking platform. This is their response to the rise of Facebook. And I really just included that here to basically highlight the fact that social media signals are becoming more and more important. And I do predict they'll become more important in the future. Last big update here was the Hummingbird update. And this is important because Google now understands context and synonyms. So for humans, it's very easy for us to understand. Let's say I asked for best food nearby. And if I'm in a new city, I might ask someone that, or I might even type that into Google. To you and I, best food nearby obviously means I'm looking for some restaurants near my location. But for a computer program like Google, that's not so obvious. It actually requires a lot of work to figure out the context and the synonyms there to realize best food nearby is really, Google should show the results for the best restaurants in that neighborhood. So Google now does have the capability to understand context and synonyms. Okay, so now that you understand those updates, I want to go over some what I call old school tactics you want to avoid. And these, again, are going to get you into trouble, even though they did work in the past. And this was actually recommended SEO back in the day. But again, it'll get you into trouble. And unfortunately, there's still information floating around out there recommending some of these tactics. So I want you to make sure you avoid these. The first one's over-optimized web pages. This is related to the Panda update. And first and foremost, you want to write naturally on your website. Again, you don't want to have low quality content. And you really want to write from a sales perspective. You don't want to write the content on your pages for Google. So that's really the key takeaway. You don't want to do what's called keyword stuffing, which means just putting a keyword into the page copy repeatedly. That's really, that was the name of the game back in the Alta Vista days. But now, if you write your content like that and Google sees that it's not really well written, then that's going to hurt your chances of ranking high in the search results. And at the end of the day, it comes down to providing valuable information, and you can do a search for some of the keywords that you want to rank for and just take a look at what's ranking already, and you'll get a sense for the quality of information and the length of the information and how robust it is. And if you want to be able to compete with that, you need to get something of equal or better quality to that content. The next old school tactic you want to avoid is what I'm calling self-created links. And this is related to the Penguin update. You don't want to buy links. If Google finds out that you actually paid for a link, or if money exchanged hands for a link online, then Google will just remove the value of that link. You also don't want to get links from irrelevant websites. What I mean by that is if, even if, let's say, your cousin owns a website and it's in a totally different industry and it doesn't make sense for that website to be linking to you, you really don't want to get that link to your site, because that's going to be a red flag to Google that you're probably doing something a little bit shady. The next concept here is called anchor text. And I gave an example there with day spa. So let's say you own a day spa and you want to rank when someone searches for day spa. Well, in this example, the blue underlined phrase day spa is supposed to be a hyperlink. So let's say other websites were linking to you with the phrase day spa. Well, that's actually a signal that Google looks at. They read the words that are hyperlinked, which is called anchor text, and they use that to determine what that page is relevant for. So if you have a lot of links that say day spa, that's a signal to Google that you are relevant for that phrase. Now, again, you can take that to the extreme and get just a ton of links that say the exact same phrase, but that's going to be a red flag to Google. If the majority of your links are using the same phrase, that's just not natural. It's not a natural link profile. That would not naturally happen over time. So again, that's a red flag to Google. They're probably doing something that's a little bit shady as far as how you're getting links to your site. So ultimately, with getting links, you don't want to think about it as link building, and that's generally the term that we use in the SEO industry. We talk about link building. How do we build links to a site? That, I believe, gets you into the wrong mindset, because you don't want to be creating the links. You want to be focusing on just what can you put on your website, whether it's a step-by-step guide or just a really good informational piece of content. What can you put on your site that other websites would then want to link to? So that's really the mindset you want to go into, is focusing on sharing content on your site to get links, rather than manually going out online and trying to create links yourself. And the third old school tactic is unnecessary, what I'm calling SEO pages. And to understand this, basically it's related to the Hummingbird update that I mentioned before, where Google understands context and synonyms. Well, back in the day, Google did not understand context and synonyms. So basically every different variation of a keyword phrase was considered a different search for Google. And you could have a different page on your site targeting every single different variation, and that was generally a recommended strategy to have a very relevant page on your site that matches the search that people are doing in Google. Now, you don't need to do that anymore, because Google understands context and synonyms. And if Google knows that someone searching for day spa in NYC is looking for the same thing as someone searching NYC day spa, then you really only need one page for that, that group of keywords. So this is related to keyword research. When you find relevant searches that people are doing for your product or service, you want to group them together based on similar phrases and similar intent behind that search. And then you really just want to have one page on your site that you're trying to rank for that group of similar keywords. So you don't want to create a lot of multiple pages to try to rank for similar keywords. And if you try to do that, here's a little bit of a warning. This was a client that we just started working with them, and we set up their Search Console account, and we very quickly got this message from Google that says Google has detected thin content on your site that provides little or no added value. So Google went out and crawled our client's site and found that a lot of the pages that our client had created were basically duplicate pages. They were the exact same content, and it was just trying to target a different variation of the keyword. So when Google sees that, they see that you've got some low quality content. This is basically related to that Panda update. They don't want low quality content online. They don't want to show that in the search results because that's going to create a bad user experience for the searchers. So when they see that, you will likely get a message like this, and you then have to fix that problem on your site, or else you won't be allowed to rank high in the search results. All right, before we get to the 5 steps, here are a couple of predictions. First one, the very safe prediction: Google will continue to fight SEO spam. They're going to keep looking out for businesses that are doing keyword stuffing, that are not writing naturally. They're continually looking for unnatural inbound links to your website. And they're also going to continue to look for unnecessary pages for similar keywords that are basically providing little or no value. Now, if you're not aware of this, then you definitely should be. Mobile and local signals are rising in importance. More and more people are using their mobile devices to go online and do Google searches. In fact, more people use mobile than desktop now in Google. And Google has already announced that they are shifting to what they call the mobile first index. And what that means when that shift happens is Google will start to look at your mobile website as your primary website, and they'll make decisions about how you should rank based on your mobile website rather than how they're doing it now and how they've always done it, which is they used to go to your desktop site and make all their decisions based on your desktop site. They're kind of flipping that, and it makes sense because more and more people are using mobile devices. More people are using than desktop devices. And lastly, I mentioned this earlier, I do believe social signals will become more important. So social media will definitely rise in importance in the years to come. And all of this, hopefully, I've hammered this point that SEO is not about tricking Google. That's a big misconception in the SEO industry and amongst business owners, that they just need to trick Google to get their business to rank high. But if you think about it from Google's perspective, again, their business depends on people going to Google, trusting the information, and actually getting what they're looking for. So it's not about tricking Google, it's actually about partnering with Google and just setting up your site in a way that allows Google to find the information that you're providing and give them confidence that you do have the best information to show on the first page. All right, let's dive into the 5 steps. First step is research. And these are actually all going to be R's. So this is also known as the 5 R's to make it easy to remember. And by research, I mean keyword research. And the tool I recommend you use, it's a free tool called Google's Keyword Planner tool. And you can just go to Google and literally search for Keyword Planner tool. It should be the first result there. You'll have to set up an AdWords account, so a Google AdWords advertising account. You have to set one up to be able to use the tool, but you don't have to advertise. So you don't have to spend any money, but you do have to create a Google AdWords account to use the tool. Now, once you have an account and you start using the tool, it works like a thesaurus. You just type in some of the words you think people are searching for, and then Google will tell you how many times those keywords are in fact searched each month. And then below that, you'll see additional similar phrases. And you'll want to just find all of the relevant keywords that are being searched each month for your product or service. And a key concept here is the fact that there are really 2 types of keywords. There's buying intent keywords and there's research intent keywords. And I recommend you first focus on buying intent keywords. And again, if we stick with the day spa example, I have 2 keywords here, day spa and NYC versus best facial for acne. And if you're doing your keyword research, you could very easily come across both of these keywords. And the first one, hopefully it's clear that that one has more buying intent. So it's more likely that someone searching day spa and NYC is going to become a customer and actually schedule an appointment at the day spa versus someone searching best facial for acne. It's more likely that someone searching best facial for acne is more in the research phase. And there's actually no indication that that person is even looking for a day spa. So as far as getting in front of prospective customers, clients, patients that are going to turn into revenue for your business, it's better for your business to rank high for something like day spa and NYC than for best facial for acne. And the last point here would be to just honestly answer the question, do you deserve to be number 1? So actually look at what's ranking for your target keywords. And first and foremost, do you actually offer that information on your site? If you don't, then you'll likely have to create new pages on your site. And then do you offer that product or service? Because if you don't, that's going to be obviously an uphill battle. Google knows if someone is searching for that product or service, that that person is not going to be happy if they go to a site that doesn't actually have that product or service. All right, step 2 is relevance. And what I mean here is website relevance. So in step 1, you found all the relevant keywords, and we're focusing on the buying intent keywords. Now you need to make your website relevant for those keywords. This is really marketing 101. You want to match the message on your site to what the market is searching for. And I mentioned this earlier, you want to group your keywords into similar phrases and then pick just one page on your site that you're going to try to rank for those group of keywords. And it is possible that you don't even have a page on your site right now that should rank for that group of keywords, in which case you would need to create a new page. And you're probably wondering, what does it mean to make it relevant, or how do you optimize a page? Well, there's really 3 critical areas that you need to edit. And the first one is your title. And I put in parentheses there, the HTML. And if you're not familiar with HTML, I just recommend you talk to a developer to get this done. But on every web page, you need to have a title, and in the title, you want to mention the keyword that you're trying to rank for, because Google will go to that page Google will look at the title, and Google places a lot of weight on the title as far as determining whether or not your page is relevant for the keyword that's being searched. The second key element is your headers. And again, in HTML, that's H1, H2, H3. And again, Google places a lot of weight on the headers of the pages because those are similar to headers. If you remember writing papers in school, you might have a title of your paper, which is arguably the most important element on your paper as far as telling the teacher what your paper is about. Similar, that's how Google looks at your website or your web pages. So you have your title, and then the different headers are those the headers that break up the different sections of your paper. And again, those are going to be very descriptive about each section of the paper. And if you just read the title of the paper and the headers, that would be a good summary of what that paper was about. And Google kind of takes that same shortcut approach and places a lot of weight on the title as well as the headers. So if your keyword is in the title and a variation of your keyword is in each of the headers, then that's going to tell Google, hey, this page is highly relevant for that particular keyword phrase. And I purposefully put this last, the body copy, because again, you don't want to focus on Google when you're writing the body copy. You really want to write really good, high quality information and sales copy. So don't think about Google when you're writing your body copy. Think more about the visitor or the prospective customer and trying to get that prospective customer to take action. If you set this up correctly and you have one page for a group of similar keywords, then it's going to be hard to not write about that keyword. So you don't even have to think about it. You're going to naturally, when you're writing the body copy, be mentioning those keyword phrases. So it's best to not even think about it and just write naturally, and you'll likely have a page that's highly relevant in Google's eyes. And before we move on, I'll leave you with the golden rule of relevance, which is to create a web page that you would want to find if you were the one searching for that particular keyword. So just put yourself in your prospect's shoes, and if you were the one searching that keyword, and I do recommend you actually literally go and do that search, see what's already ranking there, and then put yourself in your prospect's shoes, and how could you create a better page to better satisfy that person that is doing that particular search. All right, the third step is reputation. And more specifically, we're talking about your website's reputation. So at this point, you've done your keyword research, then you've made your website relevant for your target keywords, and that gets you into the running to rank because Google will see that you have a relevant page for what is being searched. But then if you do that search, you'll probably find that there are thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of other websites that are also relevant. And what Google does then is ranks them based on the website's reputation. And when it comes to online reputation, you'll also hear a term called domain authority. And the number one factor in domain authority is the quantity and quality of links from other websites. So this again comes back to how Google's algorithm was built. It was built by looking at other websites that are linking to your website. And it's basically reputation by association. If other high quality websites are linking to your website, and if Google looks at those other websites and determines that those are websites that have high domain authority, they have really good online reputations, then the fact that they're linking to your website, Google will therefore see your website as having a strong reputation and a high domain authority. I mentioned this earlier, you want to focus on attracting links versus trying to go out and just buy or create links to build up your reputation. All right, before I get to the fourth and fifth step, I want to give you those two tactics you can use to get ranked in 30 days or less. And this first tactic is called Piggyback SEO. And this should make a lot of sense now that you understand the first three steps in SEO. And what you're going to do is piggyback on other high authority websites. So basically, if you're just starting out and your domain or your website does not have a strong reputation yet, and that's basically all new websites start at 0, so you'll have a domain authority of 0. You don't have a strong reputation yet. If that is the case, then this is a good way to kind of take a shortcut and still get ranked high by leveraging other high authority websites. And what you'll do is publish content. It could be an article or a video. You're going to publish that with your keyword in the title of that content and publish it on another website that has a high authority. I'll show you an example here. So you can see at the top, this is a Google search for how to create a Google AdWords campaign. And ranked number 3 is this article, How to Create a Profitable Google AdWords Campaign from Scratch. And you can see the domain is kissmetrics.com. That is actually an article that I wrote and published on kissmetrics.com. Kissmetrics has a high domain authority. It's a very trusted website in the eyes of Google. And because the title is How to Create a Profitable Google AdWords Campaign, because that title almost exactly matches the search, How to Create a Google AdWords Campaign, Google sees that as a very relevant web page. And because that domain has a high domain authority, Google is ranking it high in the search results. And here's a variation of that keyword, just putting in Google AdWords campaign. And you can see again, ranking number 3, just under 2 Google websites, is that same article. That article title says How to Create a Profitable Google AdWords Campaign. So that phrase is in the title. So it's a highly relevant article. And again, it's on a domain that has a strong reputation or a high domain authority. And that's why it's ranking high. So that's Piggyback SEO. You're piggybacking on other websites that have high domain authority. The second tactic is what's called local SEO. And this is basically booming right now. It's related to the rise of mobile devices and how more and more people are using mobile to find nearby businesses when they're on the move. And you can see some of the stats here. 30% of mobile searches are local. 76% of mobile nearby searches visit a store. So by that, I mean somebody searching, let's say, hardware store nearby, dentist nearby. 76% of those people searching actually go and visit a store. And then 28% of those searchers who searched for something nearby actually make a purchase. So this is a huge area of SEO. It's specifically called local SEO. And it's when you do a search and Google shows the map and they show the businesses, they show business information and a marker where those businesses are located on the map. So it's a slight variation of SEO. You're actually getting your Google My Business profile to rank high. And the steps are very similar. You've got research. You're going to find the relevant keywords using Google's keyword tool. Then you want to make your Google My Business profile relevant. And that comes down to choosing the right categories for your Google My Business profile. And then building up your reputation is not just about links. You also need to get online reviews on your Google My Business profile page, and you need to get what are called citations. And a citation is simply a mention of your business name, address, and phone number. And that's most commonly done by getting listed in business directories. So you can get listed in Best of the Web, get listed in Yelp, any other local business directories near your actual location. You want to get listed in there, and Google will see those citations, those mentions of your name, address, and phone number, and those act similar to links in that the more you have, the more the stronger your reputation will be, and the better you'll rank in the local results. And here's actually a local SEO success story from Barney. He went through the local SEO steps. He's noticed his Google rankings moving up. Right now I'm at the #1 position for my most important keyword in my area. I'm now receiving phone calls for my listing, and I just started working on a project that came in directly from Google Plus Local, which is the same as Google My Business. They just rebranded Google Plus Local. So that happened within about a month for Barney. All right, so here's what we've learned so far. Went through the 3 R's, 3 steps: research, relevance, reputation. I walked through 2 tactics to rank in 30 days or less. That's Piggyback SEO and local SEO. And the 4th R is my favorite R. We've got revenue. At the end of the day, the #1 goal with SEO is not to just rank high in Google. Unfortunately, a lot of businesses do get kind of caught up in that and a little bit too fixated on trying to rank for just one keyword phrase. That's very easy to do. I mean, it's easy to get fixated on a particular keyword phrase, and you kind of lose the bigger picture. The goal with SEO is to generate revenue, and that can come from not just ranking for one keyword. You can rank for lots of different keyword variations, and you need to be tracking the traffic and the leads and sales from that traffic. And there's 3 key factors if you want to generate leads and sales. You need to have compelling website copy. Again, that's why I recommend you focus on writing sales copy. Don't focus on writing copy for Google. You want to make sure you have social proof, so have lots of reviews and testimonials on your website. That's just what people expect now. There's a lot of skepticism when you're doing online research and you come across a business you've never heard of. You want to look and see, have other people used this product or service, and has it actually worked? So the more social proof you can show, the better. And then CTA stands for call to action. You want to make sure you have a strong offer and call to action on your website. The second bullet point here is a lead magnet, and that is any type of offer that you can make on your site. It's a free offer in exchange for an email address to collect leads. So on our site, if you go to mainstreetroi.com, you'll see on our homepage we have the Internet Marketing Survival Guide. That is a lead magnet. If you go to our blog and you're reading about SEO, you'll likely see an offer for an SEO checklist. We also have an AdWords checklist, and these are all lead magnets to try to collect email addresses so that we can follow up and nurture those leads until they're ready to actually make a purchase. Now, I highly recommend that for nearly every business. And if you have an e-commerce business, you can simply offer a coupon. Most people will give an email address in exchange for some kind of discount coupon. That's really important because the vast majority of visitors to your site, in the neighborhood of like 95 to 98% of visitors, are not going to make a purchase during that visit. And if they leave your site, there's actually a very good chance that they will never return to your site because they just won't remember your URL, and they won't remember how they found you in the first place. They might have done like 10 Google searches before they found you. So what you want to do is have those lead magnets, have some kind of free offer, collect their email address. So even if they're not ready to buy, you have contact information, you can follow up and nurture those leads. And the third key factor relates to keyword research, which is the first step. And you want to be ranking for keywords that are searched by your prospective customers when they're ready to actually make a purchase. So that relates back to those buying intent keyword phrases and really focusing on those versus trying to rank for research intent keywords. And last point on revenue is to make sure you have tracking in place, and I recommend you use Google Analytics. That's a free tool. If you go to analytics.google.com, you can create a free account. And the last step when you create an account is to copy the code onto your website. Once you copy that code, Google Analytics will automatically start tracking all of the traffic to your site, as well as which pages they visit. And then you can set up goals or conversion tracking in Google Analytics to track your leads and sales. All right, the fifth step is responsibility. This ultimately comes down to identifying who is responsible for your SEO. Is that something that you're going to handle in-house, or are you going to hire a consultant or an agency? SEO is not a set it and forget it strategy. That's kind of another misconception out there, that you just need to optimize your website. That's a one-time thing, and then you'll start ranking high. Well, hopefully you've seen that's really just the first two steps as far as keyword research, and then making your website relevant. That is critical, but then you do need to work on an ongoing basis to build up your website reputation. And I always recommend to businesses to only delegate after you have a basic understanding of SEO. Just too many businesses I've talked to that have been kind of led down the wrong path because they didn't have the basic understanding of SEO before diving in and hiring someone. And hopefully by attending this training, you now do have that foundation so that you could either hire someone to do it in-house and have the understanding to manage that person, or hire a consultant or an agency. And this slide here is just to kind of another misconception in the SEO world, is that updates are scary and everyone fears when Google makes changes to their algorithm, how that that could impact their rankings and they could lose it overnight. And while that's true, the reality is that Google is not trying to remove websites that deserve to rank #1. They're trying to remove those websites that are giving a poor user experience and really don't deserve to be #1. So if you're following Google's best practices, like what I just outlined in the 5 steps, then Google updates are actually opportunities, because what will happen, Google will make a change to their algorithm to try to get rid of those websites that don't belong on the first page. And when that happens, that actually opens up spots for you to move up higher in the rankings. So again, when Google makes changes, don't think of those as scary events. You should actually get excited, because that's opportunity for you to move up in the rankings. All right, I do have a special offer for attendees before we get to live Q&A. And we have a special bundle of training courses. We publish a lot of training related to SEO. And the first course here is the complete SEO tune-up, which is to get your website optimized for all of your target keyword phrases. you can go to our site, mainstreetroi.com/training, and you can see we sell that for $97, as well as the local SEO formula. That is specifically how to get ranked high in the local map results. And then I'm also including the introduction to SEO analytics, which is how to get Google Analytics set up properly and how to report on your key SEO KPIs. So you can see if you ordered those courses separately, that's a total value of $291. But by attending today, you can actually get all three of those courses for only $97. So it's basically buy three for the price of one. And to get that bundle, you can go to mainstreetroi.com/SEO bundle. And for anyone that's not interested in training and you just want professional help, then I'll offer a free SEO assessment. And you can get that by just answering the last poll here. So on your screen, you should see a poll that says, would you like a free SEO assessment? You can get this even if you do want the bundle. This is mainly for folks who don't want to do it themselves, don't want to go through the training. You can get a what we call an SEO assessment. One of our SEO analysts will review your site. This is not an automated report or anything like that. It's all manual. We physically go to your site and actually do an assessment of your site. All right, looks like most people have voted. So the answers are yes, in which case we'll follow up to get that done. Maybe I'd like to talk to someone first, in which case we'll obviously follow up with you. And no, you don't need help. All right, I'm going to close that out. And we'll get to live Q&A. And on this screen, you can also see that URL for the SEO bundle.
Phil, if I could ask the first question, because this is something that's been bugging me for a long time. I know that I've heard that for a certain keyword, you have to mention it 5 times in the article and then put it in one of the headers. Is that accurate, or is that just an old wives' tale?
So that's kind of an old school tactic, kind of related to, there's another phrase out there called keyword density. So what you'll want to do if you're writing an article and you're trying to rank for a particular phrase, you want to put that keyword phrase in the title. It's called the title tag or the web page title. And then you would want to put I typically recommend a variation of that phrase in the headers of the article. Mm-hmm. And then just by nature of writing an article about a topic, you will naturally include the keyword in the article, and you really just don't even have to think about it.
Okay,
you certainly don't need to be
magic
counting
number. It. There isn't a magic number of times. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it basically comes down to having a very focused article. Let's say it's a blog article about a particular topic. As long as you're keeping it very, very focused on that one topic, you've got the keyword in the title, it's in the headers, then you should be good.
Okay, thanks for the advice.
Yep. I do see some questions coming in here. This one's from Alva. What is a tag? So I mentioned title tag is synonymous with web page title. And let me just jump back to where I had example of that code. So there's HTML. A lot of people will call them HTML tags. And if you see on my screen here at the bottom, it says use your target keyword on the web page. Title, I'm talking about the title tag, and in parentheses there, it's got that less than sign, title, greater than sign. That's HTML code, and web developers will call that a tag or a HTML title tag, and it's basically, it's just code on the page. Everything in between the title tags is the actual tag that Google reads. And then the second bullet here, headers, it's got less than sign, H1, greater than sign. That's an H1 tag. And then you would put that, if you were actually a coder, you would write that in the code, and then everything after the H1 tag is the header of that page. And Google's Spider can read that code, and Google knows to find the title, they just have to go to the code that says less than sign, title greater than sign. Lee said, what about meta tags? Are they old news, or did I space out when you said something about that? So basically the same question here. People talk about the title tag as a meta tag. The other meta tag is the meta description. That is important, but it's not. It's actually not something that Google uses to determine if you're relevant for a keyword. The way the meta description works is Google uses that in the search results. So if I do a Google search, you'll see that the results will show a lot of website titles that are blue underline links. And then underneath the title is the description, and that's the meta description. And you can actually specify that on the page so that Google knows what to show in the search results. Now, the reason I didn't highlight that is because Google does not use the meta description to determine if you are, in fact, relevant for a keyword phrase. And the other meta tag that's actually deprecated, Google no longer uses it, is the meta keywords tag. And you can basically ignore that. If you want to put it on your site, it's fine. It's not going to hurt you. But Google learned over time that they can just ignore that. It's much more important for Google to actually read the content of the page than to look at the meta keywords and determine if you should rank for those keywords. So Lee and Alba, hopefully that answered your questions. If you have any follow-ups there, you can just type that right into the questions box. But if we don't have any questions, okay, Lee, looks like I got that answered. We've got 2 minutes. If anyone has another question, if not, we can always wrap it up early. I do want to show that last slide again. Try to get to it here.
I think the point here, Phil, is that this really takes a strategy, right? It's not just about throwing stuff up on your web page if you want to get found, right?
Right, it definitely takes a strategy. So what kind of outlining the overarching strategy in the 5 steps, doing the keyword research to find, what are people actually searching for to find your products, your services, that information that you can help them with. Using that, now you know what people are searching for. Then going back to your website, determining, okay, do I have pages that would actually fulfill on those searches, or do I need to start creating more pages, which in a lot of cases you do need additional pages, and that gets into the structure of your website. So I always recommend, especially if you're looking to redesign your site, to do the keyword research and do that initial SEO work first, and that will guide the structure of your site. And then once you've got the structure of your site and you've got the web pages all edited as far as the titles, meta descriptions, H1s, and the content, then it comes down to building up your website reputation or your domain authority, and that gets into link building strategies. Great strategies are creating really good content that other websites would post and have that link back to your site. So that's a form of guest blogging, for example, and just having a blog on your own site, consistently publishing really good content, and then sharing that online via social media. That can be a great way to attract links as well, get that in front of a lot of folks that would then find that valuable enough to then link to it.
I think we're out of time, Phil. Thanks so much for joining us today. I appreciate it. I hope everyone got a lot out of it.
Thanks, Barry. Thanks for organizing this. All right, take care.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.